Some things are better left undiscovered. Imagine finding an old computer hidden away for decades, its screen still glowing, waiting. What if the last user never logged out? What if something or someone was still inside? I almost didn't go into the attic that day. It had been years since I'd even thought about it. The old pull-down ladder creaked under my weight as I climbed up, my flashlight casting a narrow beam into the dust-choked darkness. The air was thick and stale, carrying the scent of old wood and forgotten things. Boxes stacked high, covered in layers of dust, relics of a life long past. My parents had left this house to me after they passed, but I had never bothered to go through their storage. I was about to turn back when something caught my eye. A faint glow. Tucked into the farthest corner of the attic, half buried under old sheets and boxes, was a computer monitor. The glow wasn't strong, barely more than a whisper of light, but it was unmistakable. I stepped closer, my pulse quickening. An old beige tower PC sat beneath the monitor, its casing yellowed with age. The logo on the front Horizon Systems was a brand I had never heard of. The screen flickered slightly, casting an eerie bluish tint over the surrounding dust. I wiped a hand over the monitor. My fingers came away grimy, but the display was still clear. The computer was on, and it was still logged in. A simple desktop greeted me. No lock screen, no password prompt, just a wallpaper of a forest at night, barely illuminated by a pale moon. A handful of icons lined the screen, no internet browser, no modern programs, just text files, a folder labeled logs, and an application with no name. My stomach twisted with unease. This computer had to be decades old. Why was it still running? Who had been using it? I hesitated, then moved the mouse. The cursor responded sluggishly, leaving faint trails behind it. I clicked on the logs folder. It contained hundreds of text files. The earliest one was labeled 1998, the most recent. Today's date. I swallowed hard. That didn't make sense. With trembling fingers, I opened the most recent file. You shouldn't have turned it on. A cold chill crept down my spine. I closed the file, opened another. I know you're here. My breathing grew shallow. I scrolled down the list, picking a random entry from years ago. It's been watching me for days. I hear the typing at night, but when I check, the screen is blank. I slammed the laptop shut. My hands were shaking. The glow of the screen still bled through the cracks. The monitor didn't turn off. I took a slow step back. Maybe this was some elaborate prank. Maybe my dad had set this up as some weird experiment before he passed. And then, a notification appeared on the screen. A chat window. Incoming message. The sender's name was me. I stared. The message was simple. Don't look behind you. Every hair on my body stood on end. I didn't turn around. I couldn't. The attic was silent, but I suddenly felt the air shift as if something had just stepped closer. The chat window flashed again. I see you. A cold breath touched the back of my neck. And then, the computer shut off. The glow disappeared, leaving me in total darkness. I turned and ran. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in bed staring at my phone, debating whether to go back up there or just burn the house down entirely. My logical mind screamed that it was a prank, an old automated message system designed to mess with me. But deep down I knew better, because I had felt something standing behind me. By morning I had convinced myself it was a trick of the light, a combination of dust, exhaustion, and paranoia. I told myself I would go back, prove to myself that it was nothing. So I did. The attic was silent when I climbed back up. Sunlight filtered through cracks in the roof, casting long golden beams across the wooden floor. It looked so normal. The computer was still there, still covered in dust, still off. I hesitated, then knelt in front of it. My fingers hovered over the power button. I pressed it. The screen flickered. The old machine whirred to life. The desktop loaded instantly. No password, no login screen, and the chat window was already open. A new message had been typed, but it hadn't been sent yet. I swallowed hard and leaned closer. He came back. A scream caught in my throat. The cursor was still moving. I wasn't typing. The text kept appearing. He's watching me now. My hands trembled as I reached for the keyboard. I had to know. I had to see what it was responding to. I pressed backspace. The text erased itself, letter by letter, until the screen was blank again. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the cursor moved on its own. Letter by letter, it typed, "I told you not to come back." My breath hitched. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, paralyzed. The cursor blinked. And then, a new message. "Now you can't leave." I reached for the power button, but before I could press it, the monitor glitched violently. The screen split in half, distorting, lines of code flashing so fast I couldn't read them. The air around me felt heavy, like the room itself was compressing. And then, through the distortion, the forest wallpaper changed. The moonlight flickered out. Something stepped into view. A shadow, tall, watching. And then, the screen went black. A final message appeared in the chat window. "See you soon." I ran. I didn't stop until I was out of the attic, down the stairs and outside in the daylight, my chest heaving. The house was silent. But in my pocket, my phone vibrated. A new message. "Unknown number. You left the attic, but you're still inside." My fingers shook as I stared at the words, because I hadn't given my number to anyone. And then I noticed something. The time on my phone. It was still 0. I never left. I stared at the message on my phone, my breath coming in short, uneven gasps. "You left the attic, but you're still inside." No, this was impossible. I was outside. The sun was shining. The wind was cool against my skin. I could hear birds, distant traffic, the world continuing like normal. But my phone still read 020, and something in my gut told me it wasn't lying. I forced myself to move, to get away from the house. My hands trembled as I unlocked my car and slid into the driver's seat. I needed to leave, get as far away as possible. The engine roared to life. My tires screeched against the pavement as I tore down the street, not caring where I was going, just away. But then, my phone vibrated. Another message. I didn't want to look, but I did. "You're driving in circles." I gripped the wheel tighter, my knuckles white. No, that wasn't possible. I had driven straight. But as I looked around, my stomach dropped. I was back in front of my house. The engine rumbled beneath me, but the scenery hadn't changed. The streetlights, the trees, even the way the shadows stretched across the pavement, exactly the same as when I had left. I hadn't moved. I slammed the car into reverse, backing out so fast my tires screeched. Then I shifted into drive and floored it. The houses blurred past. Good, I was moving. But then, my phone vibrated. "Look up." A chill crawled down my spine. I didn't want to, but I did, and my heart stopped. My house was in front of me. Again. I hit the brakes so hard the car skidded to a stop. My chest was tight, my breathing ragged. I looked at the dashboard. The odometer read 0 miles traveled. I hadn't gone anywhere. I was trapped. I sat there for what felt like forever, my mind racing. There had to be a way out, there had to be... My phone vibrated. "Come back inside." I gritted my teeth. No, I wouldn't go back in there. You don't have a choice. The car shut off. The engine died. The lights flickered out. Even my phone screen dimmed. The world around me went silent. A suffocating stillness settled over everything. And then, the front door of my house creaked open. A soft, welcoming glow spilled from inside. I clenched my fists. My body didn't want to move, but something else, something unseen, was pulling me forward. My foot stepped out of the car, then the other. And then, like a puppet on strings, I walked toward the house. The moment I crossed the threshold, the door slammed shut behind me. Total darkness. And then, a screen turned on. The glow illuminated the living room, casting long, sharp shadows along the walls. It was the computer from the attic. But it wasn't in the attic anymore, it was here. The screen flickered. A chat window was open. A cursor blinked. Then letter by letter the words appeared. "Sit down." I didn't want to, but my body moved anyway. I sank into the chair in front of the screen. My hands hovered over the keyboard, trembling. Another message appeared. "Type your name." I swallowed. My name. I knew my name, didn't I? I pressed a key. But instead of my name, something else appeared. Unknown. My throat tightened. Welcome, unknown. I tried to move. I couldn't. My fingers were frozen in place. The screen glitched violently. The wallpaper changed. The forest was gone. Now it was my living room. But there was someone sitting in the chair. Someone staring at a screen. Someone staring at me. I wasn't looking at a computer screen anymore. I was looking at myself. I tried to scream. The screen flickered again. And then the message appeared. It's your turn now. A sharp pain shot through my skull. I gasped, clutching my head as the world rippled around me. The walls melted, turning into streams of data, lines of unreadable code flowing like liquid. Everything collapsed. Darkness. Then I woke up. In my bed. In my house. Everything looked normal. My phone sat on the nightstand. My clothes were folded neatly, just like I always left them. Sunlight poured through the blinds, warm and familiar. I let out a shaky breath. Just a nightmare. Just a bad dream. I got up, rubbed my face, and walked into the kitchen. I poured myself a cup of coffee, savoring the heat, the bitter taste. Then I glanced at the clock. A cold dread settled in my gut. I turned slowly toward the living room. The computer was there, waiting. The screen flickered. A message appeared. Morning, unknown. And then, you shouldn't have turned it on. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more mind-bending sci-fi horror. What do you think really happened? Was the computer haunted? A glitch in reality, or had something far worse been waiting all along? And the real question is, if this happened to you, would you ever be sure that you actually escaped? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you have ideas for future stories, I'd love to hear them. Thanks for watching. Until next time.